Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're going to be talking about Babylon, a movie from 2022. Yeah, 2022, by Damien Chazelle, and a movie I love, and a movie that Evan really didn't like before this rewatch. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what your take is after, because we've not had extensive discussions yet. So, Evan, what did you think of Babylon upon a rewatch?
Well, honestly, I'm not even sure what my take is having rewatched it. Like, I didn't re-rate it on Letterboxd. I will say though, like rewatching this movie, I gave like we need like T-shirts or something saying that like number ratings are bullshit because we say it in like every fucking episode. But like, I gave it a 3 out of 10 when I first watched it. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Just on a basic like filmmaking level, in terms of like the cinematography and the OST alone, there's a lot that works well about this movie. But at the same time, I get why this movie got the reception that it did, because it is a very vulgar fucking extra movie. Like, I don't know if I've seen a movie this extra. It's long, it's like just
It is
so
very
a per
self-indulgent, I will say that. As much as I gave
well
like a 10 to this movie, yeah, it's very self-indulgent. I love
like the
it
perfect
that it's self-indulgent, but
Well, the perfect example of that is like the film sets. Like anytime you're on a film set in this movie, like all of the nightmares of film production, like you read like this little section on Wikipedia's article that's like the this incident. You get like 10 of those in one day. Like everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Like people fucking die. They have like an infirmary on like the medieval like set. That's like, oh my god. I It's all the like stories of Hollywood thrown into one movie, and they make every scene so insane. And I don't necessarily know if it's always for the right reasons. And I part of me wishes that the movie had pared it down, but I still do love most of the movie.
mm. Good, good. Yeah, I adore this movie. I think it's just brilliant. It's so interesting because the he Damien Chazelle started writing this movie in like 2009, way before he made La La Land.
Mm.
And um
Well, I know that he'd had the idea of La La Land before Whiplash, and from what I
yeah,
understand, he kind of got Whiplash to be able to make La La Land, to make the
yeah,
opening highway sequence. He needed like more funding and a better producer. So
yeah,
um I it's interesting that he like has like all these ideas before he made it, but
yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's interesting because this film kind of feels like a mix of Whiplash and La La Land, in the sense of
Yeah.
like Whiplash has this very cynical, like, like destroying yourself to being because you want to be like the best at something, the best at your um uh at doing
Art, craft, yeah,
yeah,
like
your craft. Yeah, that's the word. And like how he just destroys his relationships in that movie. I mean, that scene where he talks to Melissa Benoist's character is like, I love that scene so much. Um,
yeah. And it is such an interesting idea too, because I love the ending of that movie, and I've watched it with people that are like, so is that supposed to be like a happy ending and encouraging? I'm like, nah, I think very much on the bittersweet side. There's a
oh yeah,
lot to take away from that ending, but I've always said, I'm like, I do not think that Andrew is like on a good path. Like when the movie's over, I don't think he's like staring down success or like a better life. Of like, I think it's downhill from there. And
yeah,
it's interesting how that works though, because it still feels so triumphant just because they
yeah,
put you in that character's moment. So
yeah. I mean, he put everything into being able to get to that moment, and once he gets there, it is triumphant. But you feel like he's kind of destroyed his whole life around this, and it will not get better. That's how I see that, anyway. But yeah, and then La La Land is like, it is kind of similar in the sense of like, having to sacrifice things for the sake of your craft. Um,
but in an optimistic
yeah, and
way,
in a
here's
much
to the
more
ones who dream.
yeah, like that movie is very like hopeful. Like it is kind of like trying to be like classic Hollywood of just being like, ah, we're we're, we're
Yeah.
doing our thing. We're going to Los Angeles and we're gonna win and get our thing. And like even though
Well,
they aren't together at the end, it's still like a positive note of like they achieved their dreams and they're still happy for each other.
Well, and not to mention, like old Hollywood in the sense that it's a classical like song and dance
Yeah,
musical. They don't really make those anymore. I mean, like Hazbin Hotel is a funny like exception to the rule where it's episodic television that's driven by being song and dance musical, but it's a dying genre, and it's funny that that movie like just takes that like full force. And you're right that this movie, that Babylon, like kind of rides the line
yeah.
between the two in terms of like sometimes it's more on the optimistic side and sometimes it's more pessimistic.
Well,
Even
yeah,
La La Land goes into that with its ending. It like it's colored with bittersweet.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah,
I
and the thing with Babylon for me is just that
right.
it rides the interesting line of like the hell of movie production and how much it destroys these characters, how much they're putting into it. But by the end, the movie is just like, and it's all worth it because you've made something like that will last forever. Where I'm just like, I love that idea so much.
Yeah, I suppose like what you could say, like the point of the ending is that it's like about legacy, about like
Yeah.
living. I love the Coke room scene, like that quote. I just love watching movies. I love watching movies, dude. And they I love that line too. Like you die in movies and they're not really dead, and that's definitely what they're going for with Nelly at the ending, with her like kind of just dancing into a fade, and it
Yeah.
just but it like it's that whole thing like people in movies are not dead, they stay alive in the movies forever, living legends. It's like
Yeah.
I
I love
yeah.
that. I love all of that. Like the entire like these characters and their legacies and how like, like
Well,
the whole world may have moved past them, but their influence is still felt in every movie that came after. It's why there is that you I know you don't like the YouTube montage of like the power
oh
of
my
movies at the end. I
no.
like it. I think it makes perfect sense for like the scene.
I think arguably, but my problem. So yeah, let's talk about that. So okay, the ending of the movie. If you've never seen Babylon, for one, like whatever spoilers. The ending of Babylon is basically the main character Manny is like a mob hit is like straight up put out on him. Long story, we'll probably get to it. And then he leaves LA, and then there's a cut to later on in 1952 when he comes back to LA and visits the film studio. So it's like this nostalgic, like he's been on the run and he couldn't make movies anymore. And then he sits down in the theater and he watches Singing in the Rain. And it's funny because I had not watched Singing in the Rain until we watched it for the podcast, so I didn't have the context. I did not know that that movie was about the transition from silent movies to
Mm.
soundies in large part. And this movie takes a page out of that movie's book, like a lot. There's so many homages and like direct. I mean, Singing in the Rain is something that they like put on and try to get Jack involved with, but the ending here, he sees like a lot of the same issues they were dealing with, and it's ironic that they're like making a movie about the grief that he had on set, and then they show audience members, and then they show footage from the films like that they made, and it's like, okay, I get it. That's kind of cool, and like it message is pretty clear. And then they switch up the song when you show Nelly going outside. You're like, huh? And then they show clips from the movie, like outside of just Nelly dancing and just a bunch of other stuff. And then all of a sudden, YouTube montage where you have Jurassic Park and fucking Avatar and Tron and Raiders of the Law, and it's just like, what are we doing? And it's like the movies of the future, like it moves on, and I'm like, an ending like this, obviously it's trying to prop up like films in general and all that, but it's also supposed to be a guy being swept off his feet watching Singing in the Rain. And it feels distracting to just throw in clips and be like the future of movies, like all the way down, and just the execution. Like there's a million videos on YouTube that you could watch of this, of just the beauty of cinema. And I'm like, what? Couldn't you have toned this back? I don't know. Something about it still does not work for
Hmm.
me. I wish
Yeah.
they'd kept it simple and focused on the reaction shots and just use their own footage, like you don't have to use other movies, like real movies. You can use the movies that they had, like I I don't know.
Well, I like it. I like the entire sense of like talk appreciating cinema in that sense of like it is forever. Everything that comes after is still like influenced by everything they went through. Like the old like silent films, they all still influence all the movies that we have today, and how
Oh,
like like their legacy lives on forever, and how like that kind of immortalizes. I mean, like you said, there's a big point this movie makes about the legacy and everything. Like I like see the movies that come after, because I'm like, I don't know. I just feel
yeah,
like
when I think about
many going through all of that, I just feel like yeah, it was worth it because he is among like the world
those that will
that
be
has.
remembered in Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, Avatar is a huge film in terms of like legacy, man.
Yeah.
Like that movie revolutionized so much cinema. Like it
Well,
did.
yeah, I don't know if Jake Sully though is going to be like a character that
Oh,
will
Jake
stick in
Sully
people's
won't,
minds and
but
be
they
I,
will remember is what it did for VFX. That movie is insane. Like
yeah.
it did.
And they use the Matrix and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You could say like technological
Yeah,
revolutions or
Tron as well.
whatever.
Like they did have a lot of those, because it is like in the same sense. Like the movies becoming talkies is like a technological revolution, and you know how there are other
Yeah,
films that kind of also that also revolutionized cinema. Jurassic Park obviously being a big one. So I don't know. I like it. I don't know.
yeah. I I would have changed things as the editor, honestly. I get the meaning. It's pretty clear. It's just I think there comes a part where it feels like they're hitting you with a sledgehammer, and it felt like enough, especially like probably my favorite part of it is when they just show the audience, like turn the film camera on the people that are watching the movie and just, you know, I it's pretty clear. I don't know. Something about it's a bit extra for me, but yeah, I don't know. Agree to disagree.
Yeah,
I
I mean, fair enough. I completely
um
understand your issues with it. I don't know, agree.
Yeah. It's not half as sticking point. I think that might have been one of the reasons I gave it such a low rating, because it is the end of the movie, and if the ending doesn't like grand slam the film, it can sour the experience. So that ties into it.
Yeah.
Let's let's talk about the content of this movie, because
Mhm.
like this is a 1920s like slash 30s period piece, and so we were talking about this being like a blank check movie,
Yeah.
like kind of
It
like
definitely
Ryan
feels
Coogler with
like it because he
Sinners.
goes way too hard. It's very self-indulgent. I like
Well,
that it's
yeah, just
self-indulgent, but like there's like everything is so extra. Like obviously the opening scene with the fucking
yeah,
party and the
that
fucking elephants and everything.
yeah, like the opening scene, like he sat down and was like wrote the script for this movie and put together a shot list, and like that process involved like an opening. He's like, I'm gonna open on three men transporting an elephant, and then you get a watery projectile shit from the elephant on one of the men, and then cut to a woman peeing on a man's face. And it's like I
It
he
tells you
wanted to
what
do
kind of
that. Like that
movie
was
you're.
really important for the vision of this film. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's part of showing how like despicable and like just that entire world is. Like the behind it kind of seems like he was very like cynical in terms of that sense of like the behind the scenes of like, oh, this is what Hollywood is like, this fucking bunch of perverts and everything, and I don't know.
yeah, well, and it's it's also prohibition era or whatever, so you can like there's that ties in. There were like taboo parties and stuff like that, but it is weird to just see a movie like this because usually the 20s, like for better or worse, are like, the roaring 20s are like painted as this like more optimistic time where people like had more of a sense of innocence. And it's just like the boobs and the cocaine and the fucking swearing everywhere in this movie. It's just like they don't hold back at all. And I don't know. Like I prefer like the actual party when you just see everyone around, like when you're following Manny. I almost think you could have opened the movie there. I don't think you needed like the elephant transportation. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of stuff like that where they
Well, I think it's
so
not entirely necessary, but it is like it is a very it shows the point of how like of the grunt work that he's doing a lot better than I think
yeah,
anything
that if
else
he
in the party because he's literally being shit on by an elephant and he's doing it for a party, you know?
well again, just like the ending with like the, hey, you'll be remembered in movies. It's like I get it. He's the work he's doing to try to get in Hollywood, he has to get shat on by an
Hmm.
elephant to do it. I'm like, it's clear, but it's like, did we need that? I'm like, there was nothing more subtle you could have done or like more reserved, something that might have trimmed down the runtime of like, I don't know. It's doesn't seem 100% necessary to me, but I understand what the movie's doing. So my bigger problem with that element ties into characters, particularly Lady Faye. She could have been cut out, like dead straight. And it's
Really? You
like
think so?
has she has some lines with like Jack. I mean, the ending with Jack is like probably one of her more significant scenes. But she has this like super long song that basically adds nothing other than introducing her. It's like she's a lesbian. It's like, yep. And then you have the rattlesnake scene. And then like she kisses Nellie, and then apparently they have a relationship, but that's montaged over. And then Manny's just like, "Hey, yeah, we can't do. You're leaving. You're fired." And it's like, and then she's just basically gone. And it's like, so why did they? I know she's like indirectly based on an actual actress from that time, but there's not that many scenes, and the musician as well is relatively similar, where both of them feel like just parts of the world that are like
Well, I think it's all
semi.
necessary for like the point they're making. Like with Lady Faye, it's the whole thing of like how much you're willing to sacrifice to be remembered forever in movies. Is she willing to sacrifice, a relationship with Nelly? Like is Nelly willing to sacrifice a relationship with her instead? And how like they need to like pretend to be that they can't like have a lesbian relationship because of
Well,
just like sensibilities of the world and how much like how much the world is like forcing them to change just so they can achieve their dream.
well, that's my thing there is that's like a thematic element rather than something that's character. Like
Oh yeah, I don't think
we
she's like
never
the deepest
see
character.
them
Like she
in
has character the most when she's talking to Jack. But in terms of like her
yeah,
relationship with Nelly, it is not like the deepest relationship or explored that much. But I think it's fine. I mean, I don't think it was trying to like super explore that in depth.
well, it's ironic that you say that because like I do think that Faye affects Jack more than she affects
Yeah,
Nellie because we never see them having a relationship. It's like I said, it's montaged through, and then
yeah,
they just kind of she just stops being in the movie, and it felt
yeah.
it
Well,
just I don't know. It felt like
yeah,
they could have done a little more, even like included her like towards the end of the movie because yeah.
yeah. I do think as well like the musician is like a mirror to her, where she did like give up her relationship and like you know just like she couldn't stay in America pretending that she wasn't, gay. Whereas him, he kind of he once he realized what they were like wanting him to do, he was like, I don't want this. Like if I need to like lose myself, like fucking painting himself blacker for the movie. Like he's just like, I'm done. Like he did that one movie,
Yeah.
and he's
So,
like, he just quits, and then he goes back to like his roots of playing in a bar for people he
well,
loves. Like he
yeah.
enjoying it without like needing to be a star, just enjoying his craft on his own.
Yeah, Sidney Palmer. That's the name of the character,
Yeah,
by the
Cindy. Yeah.
way. You're I so that it's funny because I think Faye is probably given a little more material than him. He mostly is just kind of like arguing with like his other bandmates, and like you don't get too much with him character. That's like the best like scene with him, the black like makeup. And then you're right, like, because after that they give you like one last note. I think it's like after Nelly dies too,
Yeah.
where you just see him playing his own music, and that is a great send off. That's a great ending note. But again, like, not too much character in the rest of the movie, more of a, and this is a thought I had, like, I feel like this movie's more of a scene movie than it is a character movie. It's
Hmm.
not really about like the relationships. Like even Manny and Nelly, they're like separated for most of the movie and doing their own thing. It's more about making really elaborate, really interesting scenes,
Yeah.
like where they're on film sets and stuff like that. Which I
Yeah, I think they make the characters kind of stand out by making them so wild, like especially Nelly. Like she has a very like wild personality. Every time you see her, she pops out. But I don't think it's like the thing where like the characters are the deepest thing and they're like super explored. I agree that it is kind of a scene movie. And I mean, it's the thing like they basically just like they mentioned through exposition that she has a gambling problem, and then later on she owes a lot of money, and then she gets
yeah, I
like
don't.
embroiled in the fucking stuff with that the
Do they
mobster,
even
the
have
fucking
like a,
Joker,
you know,
Toby Maguire.
that scene by the, we'll probably get there, but do they even like show her like gambling? Because like that's another thing I have. I found that slapped together when they just kind of, so I love the first half of the movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so the the beginning to like, let's say like when they introduced like the singing in the rain thing, like after the snake scene, it's after that where Manny starts getting higher up in the business, and they start montaging through and cutting through time a lot. And it's like when Nelly comes to Manny, it's like it just feels out of nowhere, where it's like we need third act drama, and it's like I got a gambling debt with like thousands of dollars, and I'm like they're gonna kill me, and it's like okay,
I
I
mean, I think it makes
you
sense
seem
with
more.
her character having gone already through the self-destructive part of just like, because like after she's like, I'm not gonna you know like pretend to be all proper for these people. She does go through like a little bit of a self-destructive arc, and then she stops going to movie sets, and that her going back to gambling I think makes sense. And they did show her they did, yeah, set up that she had a gambling problem prior in the movie. She said that she there were some people she owed money to, and then when she gets out of the cab, when that not cab, the car the driver had that in New York, where she had met Manny, because Manny was gonna watch like the first like talkie. She walks out of the
God,
car, she
I
goes straight into a place to gamble. And they
ah
have,
yeah,
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 they
yeah.
have like a little pointed note of Manny just taking note of that, of being like, huh, she's gonna gamble, she has a problem. I wish she was shown better. I wish they'd shown a scene of her actually, because this movie's so indulgent, where it
Yeah,
shows like everything. She's addicted to drugs. We all know that. Like, they all drink and they all party and they all do all this shit. At least show
yeah,
like her gambling, like, and it would have made fit perfectly with the tone of the movie of like just showing her gambling. Well, to be fair, there is a scene of her playing cards in the beginning of the movie at the party, but I think that's like it, right? There's all like
yeah. And
it's not very indulgent because the party was already over anyway. So yeah, I don't know.
yeah, and it's
They
cards, it's
Yeah.
pretty casual. You do that at a party, but
Yeah, they should have shown her gambling, because it would have fit
yeah,
with the tone of the movie perfectly, and it would have been better for the point of showing her like losing herself into gambling, especially when she like loses her job. So yeah.
well, it's what I find ironic about this movie is this movie's over 3 hours, and there are somewhat undercooked characters, and there's like character material that could have been stronger, like that, where there could have been more like show don't tell. And
Mm-hmm.
I laugh because I'm like, maybe if you trim down some of the like crazy elements and like all the partying and all the extra material, I'm like, maybe you could have had more with the original cast. But like I said, it doesn't seem like a movie that is as focused on characters. And did you ever see First Man?
No, actually.
I only watched it once. I should rewatch it, but I this movie reminds me a little of that as well, where I don't think that First Man is a very character oriented movie. It's more so just like trying to illustrate what it was like being an astronaut back in that day. It's just kind of grounding historic figures, the landing on the moon, one step for man kind of a thing. But it's not really a movie that you watch for the characters. And it's so funny how that works. This movie feels like almost like a hodgepodge of the three other projects that he'd done that like, and it's a little bit of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. The what's the best part of this movie? What's the best like overall element? Because like I don't want to just say the music, but low
Oh, it
key,
is the
like
music for sure. Like
yeah,
I don't think it's even a disservice to the rest of the film to say the music is the best part. Justin
yeah,
Hurwitz fucking oh, he was robbed of that Oscar. The soundtrack of this movie is the
so
best
fucking
thing
what
ever.
what were the other content? Because I'm telling you, like it's
The one was All Quiet on the
objectively it's
Western Front. So
good good score, really unique theme and interesting instruments. I love how anachronistic it sounds. What were the other contenders? Let me look this up.
I know that the Batman wasn't even nominated, which I find hilarious. Um, let's see.
The Batman was so fucking robbed that it's so
Yeah.
funny. Like I
So
cinematography, it's like ridiculous.
the other soundtracks that were nominated. Okay, so The Fablemans. I I don't know
John
why.
Williams.
I
Well,
Yeah, it's
John
John
Williams,
Williams.
he's
Yeah, I
always
guess
nominated.
it's weird though. The soundtrack of that movie is like not very memorable, but okay.
Yeah.
Everything Ever All at Once, which I think is fair. The soundtrack to that
Yeah.
movie's really good, and Banshees of Inisherin. I honestly
Yeah,
don't
Carter
remember the
Burwell.
soundtrack of Banshees of Inisherin well enough to comment.
Martin McDonagh's movies are pretty like subtle with the score and Carter Burwell just in general. But it's one of those like Justin Hurwitz's score was so memorable. It
Yeah.
has such unique themes for characters. It's just one of those soundtracks you could just pop in any song on shuffle and they're all bangers. It's like
Yep.
the music is amazing. It was objectively the best score of that year. Seriously, it should have fucking won. It's ridiculous, and I hope he keeps making scores like this, like jazz oriented
Mm.
scores. And Damien Chazelle in general, he's a music driven filmmaker because obviously, like from the very beginning with Whiplash, and I love that sense has like of music driving the story is like stuck around in his movies, and this is one of the best.
Yeah, for sure. I think outright the music of this film is the best aspect. And it's a film I give like a 10 out of 10 to, so it just shows how good the music is. I genuinely love it.
Yeah.
You've hinted a few
Trying
times you want to talk about the Tobey Maguire Joker.
Oh God. So that was probably the most like explicit that the movie got, and I just like again with the gambling problems, like I get that they wanted to like up the scare factor and like raise the stakes for like how like Nellie's never been more dead, but like I don't how long does this scene go on for? It starts at the like 19. Yeah, it's like pretty much 10 minutes of all of this. Like they just have this meeting and then they go in this like tunnel and this huge like elaborate like sex dungeon with like a fucking crocodile in there and it's like what in the fuck? And like there's this guy that like he's obsessed with who like eats rats and they want to like make movies. I don't know. I so much of this movie, I'm just like, was this necessary? Did we need to like I'm stunned that this movie did not get slapped with an NC-17 rating. It pretty much should be. Like I even more than The Wolf of Wall Street. It's like this is this is why we have the rating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this film is worse than Wolf of Wall Street when it comes to you know, the
Yeah,
the explicitness.
I
But
mean, it's funny to compare the two. I think they are highly comparable, but I'm
yeah.
like, I really think that movie has more restraint. It's funny to say that, like The Wolf of Wall
The
Street.
Wolf of
Like
Wall Street has
seriously,
restraint.
watch both of these. Like they're
Yeah.
one clearly is more purposeful and like held back than the other.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's this movie.
Yeah, I feel like at a lot of points this movie feels like it's showing off. And I kind of vibe with that, but I can understand just being frustrating. It's very self-indulgent. But yeah, I mean the thing is, right? I really like the Tobey Maguire Joker scene. And I call him Tobey Maguire Joker because he literally paints his face white and he has a creepy ass smile. And so I'm just like, it's the Joker.
It's great just seeing him back too. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Like I remember people were like, "Oh my god!" Like Toby. Like I don't think he's like full out retired from acting, but this is probably one of his more standout
Yeah.
performances. Like as of late. I mean, other than Spider Man, obviously. So.
Yeah. Yeah, No Way Home. But I really like it. And then I think the thing is, right, when they go into the sex dungeon, I think it's all fine. Like I don't like necessarily have a problem with it. I think it makes sense for the point they're making for the movie. And obviously they need to show just like how scary I guess Tobey Maguire is so that they can force Manny and Nelly to leave town, you know? To show like they can't just
Yeah,
stay and pretend like nothing's happening. Shit is like really, it's really rough, and they need to get out. I like that. I do agree with you though that it's kind of like it's like did they even need to like show the different levels of the sex dungeon? You know, like they
yeah.
go
There's like
like three
three.
floors down, right? It's just like it's worse than the last. It's like, you probably could have
Yeah,
just
like
shown him eating the rats and like kind of probably cut out like 6 minutes of screen time. You know?
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been hard to edit down, just cut out the second floor, like have them like trim down the first floor, skip the second floor, like maybe keep the alligator or crocodile, and then like
That's it.
show that like it.
Yeah.
And a lot of this movie's like that, where I'm like, I feel like they could have trimmed things down. Even so, for instance, the first soundy scene in 28, that I was laughing my ass off in the theater. It's so fucking funny, but it is very long.
It is very
Like,
long. I did feel that, but I was loving the scene, so I didn't really have a problem with it. You know? Like it was
yeah,
I was like, this scene doesn't need to be as long as it is. Because we get the point after a while. They're repeating, and then they finally get the scene right. And then later, they need to talk about how like her voice and everything is like part of the problem. Um, that's they probably could have done it in a shorter scene, but every time the scene needed to be reset by something super stupid was hilarious, and the guy fucking
uh,
passing out in the while the camera box there was fucking
yeah,
so funny. And then didn't does he actually die by the end?
yeah. He dies.
He actually
Like, yeah,
dies
heat
from heat
exhaustion.
exhaustion. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my
I think
god.
that scene is so
Yeah.
funny. So yeah, I don't know.
It's I feel the same way about that scene, even though like that's one of those where I feel like they could have like condensed it. Like it's so blasted entertaining that I don't even have that
Yeah.
much of an issue. The door every time, the light like streams and it's like motherfucker over the door. Like in like three stagehands just like tackle them. Oh my god. Funny, hilarious. I love every part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the
And
scenes of them actually like trying to shoot and things going wrong are like the best parts of this movie because they're so funny. Like Damien Chazelle just
yeah.
understands what it's like in a movie set, and you're just like, oh shit, yeah, I've been there.
Well, and I was mentioning that like the everything like all the 10 stories of like things going wrong on these types of sets going wrong on like one day thing. It is like extra like in line with the rest of the movie, but those are where the movie shines the
Yeah.
most. You get a heyday where like Manny, I love Manny like getting the camera, like they
Mm.
destroyed all of the cameras and he's got to get one for the final shot to get like that perfect like sunset lighting and they nail it, and it's just that like last shot of the day. Like if you've worked on a film set, like even a student film set or something small, like you've had that day that like things
Everything
go
goes
right, and you've
wrong.
had that day
Yeah.
where it goes wrong, and that's just poison. But it's like
Yeah.
it's it's really funny getting a sense of that in this movie from it, and it's great at capturing that like
Yeah.
sense of film being like on a set.
And it does add to the point the movie's making in terms of just like the movie showing like this is it's all worth it in the end because they did get the shot. You know what I mean? It's like it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
like it is they like there was literally a death on set that day, but it's like it doesn't matter. They got the shot. It's a very cynically it is a very optimistically cynical scene, I guess. It's very interesting. I really like that.
It's it's a funny like it's almost a way to describe this movie in general, like cynically optimistic.
Mhm.
Like for instance, like Nelly, like just dancing into the night, for instance. Like there's something that I think works well about this movie's sense of bittersweet that feels like I don't know, it just rides the line perfectly between Whiplash and La La Land, where it is like in love with movies, it like in love with the craft, but it doesn't have because Whiplash has like a more like I said, I think if you're watching that movie, like you would agree that like the main character is not going on a good route, and it's a destructive like idea that Fletcher
Mhm.
has. He's the fill in of the story, but this movie shows you both, and it's love hate relationship with Hollywood, which I think is nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting. And um I think the last thing we should talk about, because I think we've covered the movie fairly well, but I am kind of interested in talking about this, is that I think Jack is by far the best character, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've even talked about Jack. It's so
Yeah.
funny how that works.
I was
He
thinking about it. I was like, we have barely mentioned him, but he is just like the most interesting character, I think, in terms of like just depth and like him understanding like his
I,
film, his place in film by the end, and like just that scene of him killing himself is just so wild to me. Like it's a wonder of just like walking with him as he walks to his hotel room and just shoots his head off. And he's just
yeah,
like he
and
gives
you
the money to the guy, just like
that
you go do whatever you want now. It's just like a bunch of money. It's like, oh man.
the the future's yours. I
Yeah.
think he says something like
Yeah.
that. Man, I love that moment too. I'd almost forgotten about that, but because he asks him like, "Hey, you do a good job. What's the best tip you've ever gotten?" And he says $50. Like, who gave that to you?
You
You did,
did.
Mr. Conrad. And it's like, oh, like he's just like wanting to give the guy a good tip, like make his night before he goes out. But it like, he was generous and like
Yeah.
he cared about people
Well,
beforehand. He's
it's
like
he
definitely the
gave
most people
Manny
person.
the opportunity to work in Hollywood, and Manny became this huge studio executive. So it's like he did
Yeah.
that single handedly. Just saw Manny. I was like, I like you, like and gave him a job. He was, he was like making helping people live their dreams, and he's still doing that. It's like what, the future is yours. It's just that
Yeah.
his dream is over.
Yeah, it's interesting to see him like top of the mountain and like, smooth as butter with his dialogue. And then
Yeah.
he also has that like I forget the guy, George, I think, or whatever. Like Lucas Haas plays him, and like he like
Yeah, because
dies part of the
George
way
kills
through.
himself. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but he keeps trying to help him. He keeps like throwing him bones and giving him opportunities, and it's and then that's the like kind of the arc that ties into the overall theme. He definitely is the most in line with like the film's idea of like living in the movies and being like the legacy lives on like
yeah.
even after you're dead
I mean, yeah,
because
he
people like
gets
laugh at
the
his
monologue from Jean Smart, where she literally says like,
yeah
when people watch your movie 100 years from now, someone will feel close to you like a friend, even though they never met you, even though you died before they were even born. It's like, yeah,
yeah and I pretentious as this movie is, because it really is, I I do like that as an idea that connects this movie because it is true. It's a funny it's a funny thing about movies and about favorite movies, and because like we live in a world where like everyone is watching movies and like clipping things and all that, but like and like this moment, like, oh my god, this is the best moment of like 2023 or whatever, but it's like genuinely sometimes when you're watching a movie there's just that scene that just works so well, like feels like it was made for you, feels like those are some of my favorite movies, the ones where it's like the director just made it for you at a certain time. Like some of my favorite movies, like I why is that your like favorite movie? I'm like I needed it at this time in my life and it was there for me. It's
Yeah.
like I'm like, and even that sounds pretentious, but that's the thing about movies. They can sweep you off your feet, and sometimes there's a film that just like resonates with you, and that's the power of being in movies and being
Mm.
a part of them, even if your career doesn't last, or even if you die young. It's like you can be part of something that connects with so many people, and he even says that to his second wife. It's like it means like maybe not to everyone else, not maybe not to like people that are like rich, but it means something to
Yeah.
ordinary people. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Jack
I
is like very much just like passionate about the craft of filmmaking. He loves film, which is fascinating to me because like he talks about like we need to, revolutionize, we need to, make film new. And he's like talkies are how he did that. But the talkies are how his career is destroyed. It's fascinating. He kind of like spearheaded the movement for sound in movies, but by doing that he destroyed his own career. But by doing that he's also like immortalize his legacy. Like he was part of the movement that started talkies. It's fascinating. Like he's a very interesting character.
Yeah, and Nellie like shares that same sense of fame that like only stuck around when she was in the silent movies.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that shot as well when they watch them, and it's like the bright red in the theater. Like, man, that was a vivid scene.
Mm-hmm.
God, yeah. It's so funny talking about this movie because, like I said, I do find it pretty pretentious, a little like overlong. I don't think all the characters are like as strong as they could be, but it gets a lot right. It gets a lot right. And people like a lot of people like are thinking this is one of those movies that'll be like John Carpenter's The Thing, where like people will go back to it in 20, and people say that about so many movies. I'm like, well, in 20 years, I'm like, people are gonna be like, wow, people like gave this a this on Rotten. Like, what did they know? I'm like, you
It
never know what
is.
people like in the future will
Yeah.
say, but I could seeing this being a retrospective like
Yeah.
rewatch movie where people are like, wow, like
Yeah.
this actually slaps hard.
Yeah, I do feel that way about this movie. And it's interesting. Sometimes you just like see like watch one of those like classic movies that are like beloved by everyone, and then you just see the Roger Ebert rating and you're like, huh,
Yeah.
okay. You know? Did
Exactly.
he give
I
like a low
always
rating
loved.
to like Fight Club? I think he did. So it's yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny.
he gave a 2 out of 4 to Full Metal Jacket. That's what I always say. I'm like, Roger Ebert missed.
Yeah.
He missed. It happened. One of my favorites from that actually that ties in perfectly is he gave Groundhog Day a relatively low rating. He didn't like it the first time, and then he added that to his great movies list. And he said that he talked about rewatching it, and there are movies like that. There that like you kind of need to give them a second shot.
Yeah.
And ironic for me to be saying because I gave it a super low rating, and I've never bothered to watch this movie for 3 years, and it's worth it. Movies like this are worth it, even if
Mm.
like they don't go down so well for critics. And like I said, I know why there was this guttural reaction. People left my theater when I was in it. There were only like 6 people other than me in the theater, and some of them left because it's very explicit and it's very extra, but there's something in there that's worthwhile for
Yeah.
sure.
So I guess that answers the question of would you recommend? I guess you would.
Yes, I would. I would totally recommend it, and I have no idea where I am like number wise, but I'm like I don't think I would give this like any lower than like a 6 because
Mm.
they're not sure how much higher I'd go, and I'm like ratings are ratings, but this is a definite recommending for me. I would recommend this movie, especially if you've seen it before. Give it a rewatch. Just give it a shot. Set aside an afternoon because it's a long movie,
Yeah.
but this is worth it. And the OST, if nothing else, listen to the music and thank me later because it
Genuinely,
is
I
the
listen
best.
to the Justin Hurwitz score so often. It is so fucking good. The track that
Best
plays at the end of
score
the
of
movie when they're
2022.
playing the montage is just like insane.
Yeah, Nelly's theme and oh,
Yeah,
Wild Child. It's
so good.
all bangers all the time.
It's yeah, yeah, and I would
Oh,
obviously recommend this movie as well. One of I mean for me, Damien. I mean I haven't seen First Man, but the three movies of his I've seen I've gave like 10 out of 10s to. So I think he's got a pretty good track record with me. And I
yeah.
feel like
Was he?
if you enjoy movies, like if you are a cinephile, this movie's made for you. It is not made for like general audiences at all.
Yeah, exactly. Does he have a new movie that's coming out? Heart of the Beast. Well, no, not writer director.
Damien Chazelle. I'm not sure.
It's been
Um,
a while. Like it's been 3 years. So yeah,
yeah, he's kind of been in director jail for. He's
I always
writing a movie
laugh that
called
he.
The Claim, apparently.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I
He's not
love you, man.
directing it. It's
Really good
a movie
stuff. Yeah.
called A Single Father's Search. No, it's called The Claim. The story is a single father's search for his kidnapped daughter takes a dark turn when another couple claims the daughter's theirs.
Ah, yeah. I think I'd seen that premise. That's interesting. I don't know where that'll go, but yeah.
Yeah, and he's not directing it, which
I,
is interesting. He usually directs his stuff.
you can almost look at them as like a trilogy, can't you? Like Whiplash, La La
Yeah,
Land, and Babylon, like almost like a trilogy of passionate artists who like pour everything out for their for their art and craft. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I
Uh,
love Damien Chazelle. Whiplash. We've got to talk about that one day because that is up there for me.
mm. I like La La Land more, but I think Whiplash is probably a better movie. I just La La Land just speaks to me. Uh,
It's amazing.
yeah. All right, Evan. It is now your turn to recommend something for the podcast.
Indeed, it is. I want to potentially start a new director arc for
Mm.
us because there's a director that I've seen a couple other movies, not as many as I'd like. So I'm going with probably the most iconic movie of theirs that I have not seen,
Mm.
Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window.
Ooh, okay. Hitchcock, nice.
Ha-
Okay.
Have you? You've never seen it, have you?
No, I
Or
have not, no.
interesting. I actually have not spoiled that movie for myself. I haven't spoiled a lot of Alfred Hitchcock's. Like I don't know what happens beyond the basic premise. I know the back of the Blu-ray setup, but I don't know where the story goes. I don't know what makes it so great. But a lot of people have talked about that movie over the years and it's like it's seen as one of his best. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in watching it. Um, all right. Rear Window. Okay, I will
indeed.
we will talk about that next week then, folks. Thank you for watching. Go watch Babylon. And man, it's gonna seem so pretentious when we do fucking Babylon and Rear Window back to back. It's like, oh, these cinephiles. God. Uh
Oh, I love it though. We recommend. I wanted to stick with like old Hollywood, man. This movie was that, so I'm like, yeah, let's do an older film
yeah.
around that era.
To be fair, we're gonna seem very not pretentious with the movie we're gonna do for episode 50. That one has been lined up for a while. So we're gonna go from Rear
Yeah.
Window to yeah. So it's fine. We'll get around to it. Alright. Thank you for watching, folks. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.